Setup provides three different options. The first one is the automatic configuration. It takes all your drives and creates one array with all logical drives in that array. The second one's the express configuration. This will give you some options, but all the logical drives remain the same. Finally, we've got the advanced configuration. This gives the user a full choice to pick any of your hard drives and create from them different types of RAID level. So first, let's select the automatic configuration. Make sure it's highlighted, then go ahead and hit Next. Then we'll see a summary screen. Notice that physical drives are selected. This is because the automatic setup takes one of those physical drives and uses it as a global spare. So now what we have here is a RAID 6 array with the highest capacity of drives available. The stripe size is a 64K default. The sector size is 512 bytes. The read policy is read ahead. And the write policy is write back. Once we understand what we have in this setup, go ahead and hit the Submit button to start building the array. Next, I'm going to select the Advanced Configuration setup. Again, make sure it's checked and then click Next. The first screen is where we create the array. An array is a group of physical drives, and I'm going to create an array with 3 physical drives. Check each drive and hit the arrow to move them to the right-hand column. I'm going to show you how to create a RAID 5 array. And please note, a different RAID level will appear for selection according to the number of drives in an array. Here I want to use the full capacity of the RAID set. The default stripe size, sector and read and write policies are good for most applications. Once you confirm the settings, hit Update. You can now see that we're using all the drive contents of the logical drives since we selected full capacity earlier. If you select only half of the capacity, this bar will only show halfway. And that means you can create more than one logical drive in your array. So, if you're happy with these, go ahead and click Next. This is a summary screen for you to make sure that all your settings are finalized before you start to build your array. Okay, the number of physical drives is 3. Check. The physical drive's ID is 4, 5 and 6. Check. We have configurable capacity and free capacity. Check. So when they're all checked and you're happy with these settings, click Submit. Now we've created the disk arrays, you'll notice that there's a logical drive residing there. Moving on with the navigation tree, let's take a look at some of the other items. Clicking on Disk Array 0 gives us a front view of the VessRAID system and some basic information on this array. If I click on UPS, it shows all the settings if I have a UPS connected. Going up to Enclosure, it gives us a transparent display and a healthy overview of the entire system status, including controller, enclosure, cooling unit, and the power supply. And I can even get more detailed information if I click on Advanced Controller Information. On top of the Webpan Pro, there's an administration tool which provides a full list of administrative monitoring tools built into the VessRAID. Detailed subsystem information can be retrieved either through Webpan Pro or a simple USB OPAS plugin. If you open a case with our online technical support team, this will help you get a quick subsystem reporting file required for troubleshooting. For the OPAS operation, you might want to check with Promise Tech support for details. But here, I'll go ahead and hit Save to get the subsystem service report from Webpan Pro. The VessRAID System Service Report is a comprehensive tech-based report that contains advanced information as well as all the NVRAM and runtime events that have occurred. The service report will be helpful for tech support to troubleshoot and diagnose any issues with the VessRAID. Now we've got the storage array ready and learned how to read the subsystem information in Webpan Pro. we'll have to set up the iSCSI ports and link aggregation in order to use the iSCSI system properly. Clicking on the Network Management function under Administrative Tools, you'll see iSCSI ports and the link aggregation tag available. So let's continue and hit the iSCSI ports. Then you'll see a full list of iSCSI port information. DHCP is disabled by default, and I'm not going to change that because we'll need a fixed IP for all the iSCSI ports. Okay, let's move on and hit Port Configuration to do the setting. Good, now we're in the summary screen of the iSCSI port. DHCP is again disabled by default. We recommend using 192.168.2.11 as the IP address, so go ahead and change that if it's not right at the beginning. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. There's no need for the gateway IP address setup. The jumbo frame's disabled. This is all looking good. So I'm going to go and hit the submit button to save the setting. Going right to the link aggregation tag, I'm going to hit create link aggregation to activate this function. Link aggregation bonds all the physical connection ports into a logical loop. So here I'm going to combine two ports into one. So here the trunk ID is 1 and the assigned master port is port 1. The slave port is port 2. So go ahead and hit submit to save the setting. You can also use trunk port 3 and port 4 as a different trunk ID to make a connection with a different host. Now we've configured the VessRAID, let's expand the capacity with the VessJBOD. Setting up the VessJBOD enclosure is pretty much the same as setting up the VessRAID. Install the rail kit, slide the system in the rack, and then go around the back and cable it all up. So now we have the VessJBOD in the rack, we need to make the expansion cabling. Both the iSCSI and the SAS systems have a SAS expansion port on the controller. And now we have an iSCSI system on top, so we're going to make the connection with the SAS cable. Go ahead and plug it into the diamond expansion port on the system. Then put the other side of the cable into the circle port on the enclosure. Please note that up to 4 units of the VessJBOD can be expanded under the VessRAID system. So what you need to do is get a new SAS cable and plug it into the diamond expansion port on the VessJBOD, and then go down and plug it into the circle port on the next VessJBOD enclosure, and so on and so forth. So finally, what we're going to do is connect up the power of the VessJBOD. Here I have a redundant power model. So I'm going to connect 2 power cords with the VessJBOD enclosure. Once ready, make sure you boot up the VessJBOD completely before you boot up the VessRAID system. Now we have the VessJBOD expansion unit ready, let's go back to Webpan Pro and configure the additional storage. When you get back and log in to Webpan Pro, you can double check if your new storage has been added under the enclosure view. As you can see, enclosure number 2 has been discovered, and that means your expansion setup was successful. Clicking on it, you can see more detailed information on the new added storage. To configure the additional storage, you're going to go back down to the disk array and go through the setup and the 3 different options. So that's it for Promise Level 1 VessRAID subsystem training. For more product information, please see our website for details. On behalf of Promise, thanks for joining us.